Dude, that's awesome. So now it's like we have this one piece from a story, but anybody in an industry could do that. But I feel like that's what is like really cool about yours. Like he's saying, we just have less physical things.
I'm saying that's super cool.
I think what Cole's kind of touching on is, I mean, it's huge, even just like as a human being, like the kind of artifacts that you kind of take with you that tell the story of like your previous history.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of where scrapbooking comes in, or you know, even people who make like home videos. Like for instance, my dad, when I was a kid, he filmed like everything. Like your first steps he would film, your first time riding a bike he would film.
Yeah.
And so like, you know, some of it's a little bit shaky at times, you know, because literally it's just in the moment. He whips his camera out.
Well, yeah.
And I guess my mom also didn't like it because, you know, constantly he's shoving a camera in her face. Like, you know, hey, like, you know, it's
Be yourself.
Valentine's Day, 1993. And she's like, Chris, you know, thanks. Why are you videotaping me? You know,
I love it.
But it's cool to see that like he felt like these were impactful moments and to kind of hold on to those. So it's always a trip being able to look back on some of that stuff too. And I think some of that also ingrained in me this, the element of like your history and kind of where you come from and trying to find a way to kind of capture that. And I think through these like sketches and mock-ups that I hold on to your point, I have had that thought of like, oh, I could just trash this. Like it looks like garbage. You know, it's just a mangled JPEG printed on a cruddy piece of paper, but it does tell a bit of the story. And so as an artist and as a creative at the end of the day, it is weird to like think that you are a storyteller, you know?
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, how do you fold some of your story or some of your life experiences into something that otherwise could just be like transient and not really connect with people? And trying to find a way to like flip that narrative a little bit. So with those sketches, with those lines that are kind of from it getting crumpled in my pocket, I actually like photocopy those and then look at where the folds in the paper are, and I'll come up with new designs based on just how stuff is fragmented and broken. Because like I wouldn't come up with it on my own. And like to your point, my pocket literally mangled this paper.
Yeah.
But it you know, if you look at that process and you pay attention to that kind of stuff, you can come up with new ideas. Like it's kind of like, I bet in video editing, for instance, I know you can set like keyframes to like a certain beat of music. And then there's a way, I think in Premiere, where you can just select clips and just like apply them to, or it's not keyframes, it's like the marking.
Okay.
So you mark along like, let's say a rhythm.
Yeah.
And then you have a set of 50 clips. You can just grab those clips and toss them in. So like, let's say you're making a video that doesn't need to be final, but you're wanting to get a taste for how the footage you shot kind of is working. Yeah. You can just like grab a chunk of, I mean, this is probably real basic for you guys because you guys do this all the time.
You're explaining it to people that may be less familiar.
Sure. So you just grab a bunch of clips and toss them in there, and you can just kind of see how the film is starting to develop. Yeah. You know, you can see... Okay, well, this clip makes sense. Yeah, it's like it starts to unfold in front of you, and then it gives you the prompt of like, yeah, this clip actually doesn't really fit here. So like, let's definitely cut that, put this new clip in. So it's like, I love kind of automating a process like that and seeing what accidents happen, and that informs kind of the direction sometimes. Yeah. Do you guys have a similar experience with like filmmaking and shooting that's similar?
Yeah. So the expression is like the story's written 3 times. One, when you write it physically on like paper or